Good morning. Welcome back. We're back in our garden space. Our Saturday seems like our Saturday date every week now. And I wanted to show you why we chose this spot for our garden boxes. You can see it's in full sun. It has been for more than an hour. Over there on the grass is shady. And so this spot gets the best sun. That's why we decided to have it right off of our patio. And you can see these white templates we've got for our garden boxes. This is the size our garden boxes are going to be. When we first started measuring, we would measure, put in a string, and it just didn't seem to work out. And then I remembered we had this roll of covering, like tablecloth covering, and I said, why not just make templates? Wouldn't it be a lot easier? And so it has saved us a ton of time. So we've laid these down, measured exactly where we need them to be. And we have these flagstones that our neighbors generously gave us because they bought flagstones for a project in their yard. They bought way too many. So for the cost of dinner and ice cream after, we got these flagstones for our path. So we kind of see how everything's going to be laid out. So what we're going to do now, I did a preliminary spraying of the corners, so if they moved, we would know where they go. But we bought some marking paint. So we're going to mark the whole perimeter of all the beds. And then we bought just like the first course of stone for our beds because that's what we're going to do first, and that's what takes the longest. You need to make sure that that's perfect. And then we'll fill in with some sand, and then we'll do the pea gravel, and then we'll do the rest of the courses of the boxes. But we're excited for this to progress, and we're going to get going now.
We decided after we spray painted one outline of a box that what we would do is do the first course of pavers along this one and see how it is, and then move to the next one. Anyway, there are a couple of things just to keep in mind as we move forward. We've talked about it before, how of course we still want to continue to have the water flow away from the house and away from the garage. That means that the paver base and the eventual gravel is all going to be sloped these directions, but we don't want to have the boxes be sloped in any way. We want those to be level. And the only way I can figure that we're going to be able to do that is we're going to have to start each box in the lowest corner, which means we're going to start in this corner. Then we'll have to run a line level up and over so that we can get that first course level. At this point, it became a process of dry stacking all of the bricks. What I learned really quickly was starting in that lower corner required me to build that corner up with additional paver base. Then, in the lowest part, I actually had to dig down almost all the way to the fabric barrier. Of course, we used the line level and a series of levels to make sure, as I laid each brick, they were level with one another. Adding paver base, removing paver base, then using the rubber mallet to pound each one down into place.
Now that we've got that first course down, we're going to go ahead and dry lay the second row. That way, when we get to the edges and everything, we can take the chisel and we can just pound off the edges where we need and make them fit the way we want. But once we have these, we're staggering the joints, as you can see, which is always a good practice, like so. But once we get these all dry fit into place, we'll take off a few at a time, and then we bought some adhesive that we'll go ahead and use and glue a few in at a time.
As we glued this first row in place, we did use the level to continue to make sure we were level to itself. With the first row on the first box in place and glued down, it looked a little bit like this. At this point, it just became repeating what we did with that second row. Dry stack a whole row, then remove a few, glue them down, make sure they're level, and continue to go. When we got to the corners and had odd-shaped bricks to lay, we just used a hand chisel, and I would just score it, turn it, score it, turn it, and finally it would break.
Hi.
What has your pops and daddy been doing today?
They've been working in the backyard.
Yeah, doing what? Do you know what they've been doing? What are those things? What are those things behind you? Do you know what they're going to be?
Box garden.
Yeah, box gardens. They've been working hard, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Pops is going to water
The sand.
the sand
Mm-hmm.
and with the hose.
That's right. So as soon as he hooks it up, then we'll say, go ahead, Pops.
And you're gonna watch.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead.
All right.
By this time, we were running out of Saturday and money from running back and forth getting new bricks. We laid out the flagstones in the pattern we wanted for this pathway, using again the rubber mallet to make sure that they were level and so that no one would be tripping over them. Then I got out the hose and we wet them down so that they would seal into the paver base. We did pick up a few bags of gravel. Pea gravel is what we're using here in between the flagstones and in between the beds. We started dumping it to get it in place, then grabbed the push broom to broom it off of the flagstones into the spaces between. After we finished brooming and dumping the remainder of the pea gravel that we were able to get, I sprayed it down one more time with the hose so that we could set the pea gravel into the paver base as well. And finally, this is where we are. We still have a lot more pea gravel to get. We have a little bit more to do with the rows. We're going to do 5 rows on that back box, and then we'll do 4 rows on the boxes in the front. And at the end, we'll get a row of capstones so that it'll be more like a seat that we can sit on. Anyway, hope you like this next part. Hope you'll like the next part. We certainly are looking forward to it and getting to the end where we can actually grow something in our boxes. But stay tuned. We'll see you next time. Thanks.